Hi, I'm Kathy Vaness. I'm the General Manager and COO of the Golden Door. I am so excited to be here tonight to talk to Captain Sandy Yawn. And let me just tell you a little bit about her. And we've got a lot of great questions to kind of charm her and get her answers. In November 2004, Captain Sandra Yawn and the crew of a 131-foot yacht White Star bound for Dubai transited the Suez Canal and began their voyage through the Red Sea. Thwarted by hydraulics failure and engine trouble, they soon were surrounded by gunboats suspicious of this opulent vessel. With 27 years of yachting experience, Captain Sandy Yawn has chartered yachts from the Mediterranean to the Persian Gulf. Being one of the only, think about this is such a cool job, female captains in the industry, she's overcome stereotypes. She's conquered imaginable objects at sea, from being chased down by pirates to containing fires on board. She survived a life-threatening motorcycle accident and even cancer. This undeniable resilience she possesses has helped tremendously in pushing her to the top of her industry. And we are so honored to have you here tonight.
Thank you.
So I jumped at the chance when I met you to invite you to come to the Golden Door, because I love to bring fun people in to talk to the Golden Door and to talk about your experiences on the high seas. But the first question I want to ask is, as a young girl, I don't think one of us here, probably as a young girl, said, I'd like to be the captain of a boat. Did anybody have that? I think I would have liked to have tried that, actually. How in the heck did you decide to become a captain?
Well, I didn't think I would. It wasn't a dream of mine.
But how'd you get there? What made it? You had to do some learning.
Well, of course. I sort of fell into it because as a kid, I didn't have great role models. So I was on a very different path. Something changed in my life. I redirected my path. During that time, I met a guy, and I was washing boats, actually, at the time. And his name was John Flynn. And he said, do you want a full-time job? And I'm like, sure, like on your boat? And so the first time I ever had a crew job was 1989, 1990, and he put me to work. And that man believed in me, sent me to school, maritime school, and helped me with my career.
You must have been the only female in the school.
I was.
That would have been interesting.
Yes, I was the only female. I was in a classroom with a bunch of tugboat captains and ship captains. You know, it was interesting, and I don't know, I believed.
27 years of being the captain of a boat. You were chased by pirates in the Red Seas. Pirates are thieves of the ocean, as we all know, of course. I'm sure your training must have kicked in. What were they looking for? And what did you do to save your crew and your ship?
Okay, first of all, it was 157 feet. That was a typo.
Okay, that's okay.
In there.
We don't care the size. We only care about the pirates.
I do. Anyway.
It's even bigger boat is what you're saying.
Yeah, so basically it was a brand new boat. Never really been tested. I had all new crew. I had a bunch of crew that quit when they learned that I was going to Dubai. That was 2 years after September 11th. And the U.S. Cole bombing, I think it was a year after that. And it was during Ramadan.
Oh my gosh.
So the crew found out, they quit. I had to hire a new crew. And on the journey, it was calm seas. When I went through the Suez Canal, it was interesting because I had a lot of, Arab, Egyptian men that that were not used to a woman in charge. So that was challenging. Sort of, hey, I'm the captain. Right. And it's not male or female, and that's really how I dealt with it. So when I entered the Red Sea, and I always say this, it was like entering the gates of hell. Because I swear to God, from that moment I entered the Red Sea, everything went wrong. New boat, the seas were on the beam, on the bow of the boat, so right in front of us. 15-foot seas. So the way the engines are cantered in the boat, they're like this. One engine starved of oil, so I only had one engine. I had security on board, and he kept saying, the pirates are in this vicinity, and I had a crazy engineer that was an alcoholic. That was, I had all new crew. So I had to just hire before I left. So managing all of that, and then I did have a first officer off the ship Disney Magic as my co-captain. And I just looked at Zed and I just where should we go? Anchor, Somalia or Yemen? Those were our choices. During that transit, I heard a coalition of warships monitoring the Red Sea. NATO still has that. And I heard an American warship. I heard a female voice that was American. For some reason, I remembered Warship 68. We find these islands. We anchor off the islands. So we had no idea.
No idea.
We wake up and
to
it's
me.
a military camp. So now the guy's like, hide. So we're being boarded. So all the women, there were 5 women on board, we hid while these guys with machine guns walked through our boat. And if we would have been found, they would have captured us and kept us. I mean, the danger was, first of all, there were 13 Western crew. There were 2 Americans on board, myself and another guy, and 5 women. So 5 days we were there fixing our problem. We wore out our welcome. 3 days into the trip, we tried to leave into the anchorage. It was too rough. We had to come back and re-anchor, board it again, and it was Ramadan, so these people aren't eating. And they're chewing. Did you see Captain Phillips? Well, they talk about this drug that they chew. It's called GOT. Well, they're all chewing it, and it makes them crazy. So finally we leave. As we go to leave, now the security guy, I'm on the bridge, the security guy's sharing with me that the pirates are on their way because they heard, what's happening through their friends. And I called, and then we had the fire. Like right after he told me that, the fire happened. We were disabled. So I remembered the ship, the coalition warship. So I called the warship and I said, I'm an American citizen, sustained a fire on board a vessel floating in Yemen territory, and I require your assistance. And I never felt so proud in my life. When the ship called Warship 68, I specifically called them, and they said, you are our priority. You'll remain our priority until you're safe.
Oh, that's so amazing.
It was amazing.
That's like a lifetime experience.
Yes.
I mean, that cannot happen twice.
So the security guard comes in and he's like, do you know the pirates are on their way? So I'm like, stop talking to me. I can't hear this anymore, And I had a girl try to jump overboard. The engineer tried to kill the other guy. The crew were just it was a very stressful situation. And I believe being a female, because I think women are better micromanagers. And I don't know, I was really calm. I was just so calm. And the training kicked in. So I've had a lot of training.
Now, was that the most harrowing experience you ever had? Was that what you would think is your worst experience?
I would have to say so. I've had a few fires at sea, and
that sounds like
I've been chased by pirates before. But
you've had 2 tragic accidents in your life: the motorcycle, and you survived cancer, which is congratulations, amazing.
Thank you.
And how did those events change your life? I'm sure quite dramatically.
Wow. So, hit by a car on my way. I think I told a few of you the story. Headed to the Miami Boat Show, February 13th. It was a Friday. I left my house, had a helmet on, but I wanted to go get my new helmet. So I turned my bike around, went to get a new helmet. And the guy who taught me how to drive a boat, I was meeting him at the boat show. So I called John. I said, should I drive my car or ride my bike? And he said, ride your bike. It's the traffic. He's the angel.
Yeah.
So when I got to the stop sign, took a right, was going really fast, hit the car, and as I was spinning in the air, I thought, oh my God, I'm going to die. I'm going to go see my mom. I woke up on the pavement. I was not happy because my foot was sideways, and because of that, they discovered the cancer. What changed in my life was every minute of every day I enjoy.
Exactly, that's the way it should be.
Yes.
That's amazing. Well, I love the show Below the Deck. I have seen it all. How many have seen it? It's so fun, right? You have to see it if you haven't seen it. It's really a great show. I think I probably binged it.
Below Deck Med. I'm on Below Deck Med.
She's Below Deck Med, of course. I hear you're going to be on 2018, possibly.
Possibly.
I don't want to jinx anything, of course. But this will be sort of interesting. What did you learn from your first show that you would like to take to your second show?
It's interesting because from the Twitter, because you have to do social media, and what I found watching myself, I thought, wow, I'm really calm. Don't you think?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm just really calm.
Yeah, I think so too.
And I think I'm really good with people. But I never really knew that until I'm watching myself. the viewers see me as a great leader, as a great manager, and what would I do differently? I didn't know, because it was my first time being filmed, that I could fire people, because I would have fired Hannah.
Right.
I would have fired her because
So now your next show, you'd be more really business. You'd be running it like you would normally. You wouldn't be afraid to make a decision like that.
right.
Yeah.
So now, yes, absolutely.
So that almost brings me to the next. So if you bring a character, any character, back to your next show, which is coming up shortly, I'm sure you must be picking them by now. You must have the rights to pick them, I'm sure, a bit. Who would you bring back to the next show?
Every one of them, even
Hannah's-
Hannah.
even
yes, only because obviously over the time, you know why? I want to bring her back because I want the crew to work through the Hannah thing. Because right now it's a mutiny against Hannah,
Yeah.
and
But who
she
wouldn't
wasn't
you,
really great to the crew. As a person, and it's not scripted at all. The show is not scripted. They do stir the pot. For example, I went to dinner and Max brought something up that happened, and I looked at him and go, "Why are you bringing that up now? That's in the past." He winked at me. So they wanted him to bring it up. So the thing is like that does happen, but they don't tell us what to say. You could refuse to do that, bring it up, but they want to. So the crew loves stirring the pot.
Yeah, of course.
And
That's
it's
what
not
makes it a
scripted.
show.
Yes.
So who wouldn't you bring back?
Do I have to pick one?
Well, I think that the
I would
one
bring
you
the
pick would be
troublemaker back.
yeah. You would not bring that,
No.
which was
I think the one, when you look at the one,
Yeah.
it's Hannah.
there. You go. So you would bring her, but you might not bring her.
I would only bring her because I would want the crew to stand up to her.
Right.
Because what I find is a lot of people, and this is in life, that they don't stand up for who they are.
Yeah.
So you don't have to be confrontational. You just have to say, hey, you know what? The way you're treating me isn't really nice.
Right. Of course.
And I'd like it if you treat me a different way
Yeah.
instead of being all nice to Hannah and then behind her back talking about her.
Yeah.
So I would like them to learn that skill set.
So if you hadn't seen the show, there was one segment, the second segment of the show, that was naked news. If you remember, if you've seen the show. I just was like, I could not believe it. I was like laughing like crazy. The people are literally naked and you're serving them. I mean, imagine if all of you were naked and we were serving you your lovely chocolate dessert tonight. And the comedy that was going on between the crew and behind the scenes, because it's really a behind the scenes show, was quite interesting. But how unusual, what were the things that we didn't see about that? Because that was quite.
First of all,
That was quite
Jim
out there.
McBride is an amazing guy. And
He's the husband of the, he's the
Michelle
owner.
McBride, and she's an attorney.
Yeah.
And they are great people. They have kids. And how he started it, just really quickly, in college, he wanted to make money. So he took VHS tapes of nude scenes of actors and actresses. He spliced them together and sold it. Made money. So he continued that in his career. So he's made a lot
They're
of money.
literally filming the local news
Yes.
with nothing on.
Yes, and they're partners. So he has a partner as Naked News. And, that's the one thing about being on a yacht is you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, for sure.
You can't do drugs, but
Right. But it must have been a bit of a challenge.
be
huh?
nude. They
You're
can-
getting a lot of press out there
Yeah.
for Below the Deck. You're just on the Andy Cohen show. That must have been fun. And what other shows are you looking in the future, and what does that mean now for the Captain Sandy brand?
well, of course I want to grow it. I want superheroes because for me, I love superheroes, and I just
We like
think
female
that,
superheroes. Who didn't see Wonder
Yes,
Woman?
I know.
Oh my gosh, it's great, right? She was great. We love superheroes.
Captain Sandy superhero.
Yeah, we love that.
So I was on the show The Doctors. Obviously,
Yeah.
you know that. And for me next, it's just about inspiring young women, even older women, to be true to who they are. And also, I was always challenged in the yacht world. How I dealt with it is I navigated through the situation. I didn't have to posture and say, I'm the captain. I was like, no problem, whatever. I just didn't fight. I navigated. And so if a guy was giving me a hard time, I was sweet to him, even nicer to him. And I let him think he made the decision. And every time I would dock the boat, the men would come out and go, oh, it's a woman. I would wink, I would smile, blow him a kiss.
Well, this is the perfect segue for my next question for you. You have been defined as a badass, a disciplined captain. How did you get these handles as the badass captain when I see you, and I know you now, so even-keeled?
I have no idea.
Right? I mean, it's on every advertising promo.
I
The
know.
badass Captain Sandy Yawn is going to be back on TV.
And as you watch
You
the
sound
episodes,
like Clinton, what is it? Clint Eastwood, right? And she's going to have a bunch of guns and shoot us.
so it's interesting because every client on the boat said she's a badass, and they weren't prompted to say that.
Yeah.
Jim McBride's
Yeah.
wife, Jim McBride, said it. The episode last night, Malia said it when I was docking the boat. I think because I docked the boat, there are other female captains. In fact, my mentor was a girl named Vicky. She was Paul Allen's captain. And the fact that you can dock a big machine between two other machines is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty
and so they think that's badass. It's the fact that I tied to the rocks and showed them a really great experience. I'm not afraid, and that's it. And I'm confident in my job, and I'm confident in my ability to do my job.
So when you're not on Below the Deck, are you traveling with other charters around the world and doing other things? Or is this starting to take up a lot of your time?
This, because they have pickup interviews, so I decided not to work. Plus, I worked my whole life. This year I've taken off. And I wanted to grow the brand.
here.
I'm having some fun. And I hope to be going back September 5th for filming. And if not, then I will. I've had job offers that I've turned down on dream jobs, like big 70-meter massive boats. I have a friend of mine that's the captain right now. He's in Alaska. I saw him here in San Diego, and he took a big boat. I've never done that. It's something on my list I want to do. So
I'll come back to you.
Yeah.
So I want to switch gears a little bit. I'm a member of an organization. You might have heard of it called Five Gyres. Have you ever heard of anybody know what a gyre is? A gyre is off the planet. There are tributaries that come into the ocean, and they're like circulars. They're like whirlpools, the way the water is coming off the various mountains, the various worlds. And there are 5 major gyres in the oceans, and these gyres circle because that's how the water comes down and goes around, goes back. And in these gyres, the pollution collects plastics and bottles and big lighters and all kinds of things. And some of them are bigger than the state of Texas and as deep as you can possibly imagine. So there's a lot of controversy going on about what's going on in the oceans. And since you spend so much time in the oceans, do you ever experience any of this sort of pollution that's in mass?
People like Paul Allen, who own boats, have created this, it's called Seakeeper Society, and it's a philanthropic to help with problems like this. Where are you? Okay, Mark, a guy that lives here in San Diego, she knows him. He created a company called not-for-profit Yacht A Global. So these people in the yacht world are doing things to make changes because, when you think about the plastic bottles, we implement the water filters on board, we educate. It's interesting. You go to Monaco, they have recycling. So you recycle, you're required to recycle on the boat. So when you take it ashore, you have recycle bins. You're in Italy, Capri, you're required to recycle, but you go to shore, it's 1 bin. So the problem is still
Standards.
Yes. It's certain countries, certain areas, America, the same thing. We have the recycle bins, but when I love it. It's in the airport, it's everywhere. So they're in my neighborhood. I have a recycle bin. So and then consciously not buying the water bottles.
Right.
I mean,
we have
it's
a big
so
thing about
hard.
that here. Yeah, we have a thing about that here. We don't buy plastic water bottles here. But I think, you're on the advisory council for Seakeepers, which sounds like it's supporting, also talking about overfishing. Tell me your role there.
Yes, oh my God. And now I met Paul Watson. So now I want to go drive one of his boats for whale wars. Overfishing. The Prince of Monaco. He stopped serving tuna in his restaurants. So he said until this, they're not farming them, he stopped serving tuna. And I saw Paul Watson. He's a amazing man. He was a co-founder of Greenpeace. And he has a Sea Shepherd, and he has 7 ships. He has celebrities that bought him ships, Martin Sheen, Bob Barker. He has a lot of celebrities on his board where he goes out and he fights these ships for illegal whaling and fishing. And so basically, we try to buy fish responsibly, eat the right fish.
Yeah.
It isn't that you can't eat fish. It's just don't eat
Don't
the
waste it.
fish that's
It's going to be in
extinct.
danger.
Yes, right.
It is. You're a great mentor for women today, and sharing that women can be leading many fields, and certainly talking about being a female captain of a ship is like going into the STEM world. STEM industry for science and women is another big field. But tell us about this industry. Is it growing? We know the world of wellness and travel industry is absolutely growing. But is your industry growing as well?
Yes. Before 2008, it was heyday. I mean, the yacht world isn't really affected by the economy, which is interesting, until 2008. When that happened, not that they had to sell their boats. They had to sell their boats because they laid off 3,000 employees. The yacht world is back to a 14-year build cycle. So if you want to order a Lursen, I think it's 14 years before you get it. Those are 200 million euro boats, 300 million. Wow. They're expensive. It is back to that level. We're a deficit of crew. We need more yacht crew.
Did you see younger people getting into the field?
I think now that Below Deck is on air, and also a couple other shows, yes. It's about encouraging people because the yacht world is amazing.
I don't think people even have known about it.
No, it always seems like, oh my God, an industry you can't really get into. Right. It is sort of like that. I mean, they are very open, but they're very cautious because they want people who are real there for the right reason, not
ethical,
to just
honest. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you're out on the high seas with all these fabulous boats, do you get to see all this incredible marine life?
Yes. Oh my God.
All the whales and the
That's
dolphins.
what I was saying. I love at dinner.
Right?
I just love animals and nature and whales and
you're
dolphins.
Diving and in the boats and on the skiffs and
And the sharks.
And the sharks, exactly. So when you think about your own experience of taking the time to go on vacation, where are you going to go?
It's interesting because I get this question a lot. What do I do on my time off?
What are you going to do with your time
I go
off?
boating.
I'm
I'm
Would
always
you go
on a
someplace
boat.
different? You're not going to go to Croatia.
No. Oh, where would I go?
What would you
I want to
actually
go
do?
to Alaska.
Oh, okay.
I was just saying that. That's
you go to Alaska. Okay.
I'm not jealous. I'm really happy that my friend is taking the boat he's the captain of, but I certainly wanted to be him.
So this is one of my favorite questions that I ask people, is describe yourself in one word. And the first hint is it is only one word, and it generally is your first word.
Describe myself adventurer.
Were you always an adventurer, even as a young girl?
Yes, as a kid, absolutely.
What was your most adventurous thing you did?
We were explorers. I want to change it to explorer because I want to be a member of the Explorers Club. I'm an explorer.
But we'll let her go, okay?
Explorer.
So were you always an explorer?
Yes.
What did you explore when you were young? How did you explore?
I don't know. You went out in the woods, you rode your little stick horse, you had your little stick, you were like exploring, looking for
That's a great
whatever was out in the woods.
So what inspires you?
What inspires me? People. You.
Yeah.
This table of women.
I like that people inspire us. I think it's a very Golden Door thing too. We love this intimacy of our guest. And at the end of every single interview, we asked our guest the same question. And I get to ask it for you tonight too. She has no idea. They have no idea of the question. We must have 50 or 60 of these questions now answered, and they're quite beautiful. And the question is if you're with our wonderful guest tonight, what golden nugget can you give our guest to take home tonight?
Golden nugget would be, oh my God, just live. Don't have fear. Just be fearless. That's it.